Look at that silence, Lewis. No flatulations at all. It's impressive.
I'm sorry, no what?
No disturbing air noises from your microphone this time.
Come on.
Okay.
No
And
toots.
Griffin's
They're
over there
posts now.
retooting. All right.
Oh, retooting sounds real bad.
Retooting. Sounds terrible, actually.
Is there like a hose required with that? I mean, how do you... Oh, my.
Ask LK. I'm sure he knows all about it. And we're live. Okay, you want that tweet action? Here we go.
Please.
This is the one that's going to break the internet right there.
Yeah.
I didn't bother proofreading it at all. I'm not gonna, Lewis.
That's great.
We got Jay Cruz here with a very enthusiastic yeah. That's for you, Jay. I don't want to hear nothing about it, Lewis. We got Reese Grundy here. Hey ya. Oh, Ulysses also with a. His is heavy on the H action though. It's not. Maybe that's something that TC does when he's really excited, maybe nervous. Hey ya. We got Ronald Hudson here. And look at this. The people are just pouring in. They're just pouring in. Actually, let me move the chat over here so I can actually see it. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about today here, my friends. Let me just resize that. Should we just dive right in? I think that we should just go ahead and jump in here. What do you think about that, Griffin? Yeah, this is the LK replacement. LK Mini. We're trying him out. He's going to be doing his best British impersonation the entire show. And we'll be
No one needs that.
We'll be making our evaluation 100% on that. Let's see here. Okay. Let me cue up Mrs. D, and let's just go ahead and just dive right in, because you guys seem like you're not very talkative today. Lewis is focused on something. He looks like he
trying to do the tweet. It's really hard. It's really
I know.
hard.
See, it's hard to do it live on the air like this,
I can't do
isn't
it.
You can't even do it. So, if you don't mind, I'll just cue up Mrs. D, and we'll get this show rolling, because we actually have a lot of stuff to talk about. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. Very enthusiastic. Oh, yes. I'm also on Mastodon now. Oh, really? Oh, yes. I've been retweeting with LK all night. Ugh. Gross. They really need to work on that phrase. That doesn't work, Lewis.
No, do not retweet.
Oh, man.
It's not medically advisable.
Although it is something that I know LK is into, but, not surprising. He's into all that weird stuff. Well, if you don't mind, Mrs. D, we'll go ahead and get this thing rolling. We got a lot of Apple news to talk about and not much time to do it. So let's get this music going, and we will start the show in 3, 2. Oh, wait a second. That
Failed to launch.
wrong button. Oh my. What happened? Mrs. D, did you screw that up? Oh, sorry, my dear. I blame Mrs. D. Mrs. D, let's try that again. In 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Aaron Latch. Joining me today, he's a man who uses his hands for work, a real man, some say. Sometimes to edit articles, sometimes to box your ears if your spelling errors break the Cultimac limit of 1 per article. Only 1? Holy stickler. Managing editor of Cultimac, Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah.
Also joining us, a new writer on the Cultimac team. He's lucky there's no more space in the Cultimac writing cage. He gets to live at home in comfort and security for now. I'm not even sure what his last name is. It's just the mysterious and elusive Griffin. Welcome to Griffin. Oh, it's Jones, isn't it? Griffin Jones?
It's on the bottom of all of my articles.
I don't read Cultimac.
Nobody looks at the
If you
bylaws.
wrote for 9 to 5 Mac, I would know your last name.
Oh, jeez, what an insult.
I would never.
That was a test, and you passed. You're right. I have seen your. For some reason, I didn't have it. Oh, it's on Slack. That's where I was looking for it. But Griffin Jones is here. Welcome to you, Griffin. Of course, you've been here before, but we banished you from the show until you got yourself a Mac that was made in the last decade, which you recently did, and you got the M2 Pro Mac Mini, right?
That's right, yeah.
So Griffin will be talking about that. He's just did a full review on that machine. kind of from an editing perspective, if you are thinking about getting something for audio editing, video editing, and just creative work in general, right, Griffin? And I don't think that it's spoiling the segment here to say it's just a monster, isn't it? You were talking about it. And you were just like, you could barely get the words out. I was like, come on, man, calm yourself down. I know it's exciting, but it's just a computer.
It's not just a computer. It's a dream machine.
A dream machine. Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's what I should have put in the title.
No.
See, we were working on this in Slack, and I should have put Dream Machine because that would have really got the people in here. Let's see here. Before we dive in, I do want to give a quick thank you to Mylio Photos for supporting this episode. Can I pull up Mylio? Here we go. My friends, if you need a way to back up photos from multiple devices, especially if you're not in the Apple ecosystem, a lot of people are not purely Apple. I am broadcasting from the Cult Commander. This is a PC that I hand built myself to be an absolute monster. And if you're not someone who spends 100% of their time in the Apple universe, there's like no way to back up all your photos from all your different devices because iCloud isn't going to let you do that. They want you to be an Apple. But even if you are an Apple, Mylio is a incredibly powerful platform for managing a lifetime of memories. All your photos, all your videos, everything. With the Mylio's app, your years of photos, videos, and important documents across all your devices are cataloged into one shared library. And if you're like me, I mean, your library is probably massive, and you may be running out of space on iCloud, and it's like, what are you going to do? Pay them $50 a month to get their top storage package, which includes all their other services like Apple News that you don't want. You could just manage all your photos in Mylio's Photos. Mylio is an app that runs on your different devices, and it will manage all of your photos and videos in one library. You can share your library with other people in your family. There's no cloud storage required. You can access all your data offline and automatically encrypt it for the cloud if you'd like. And you can search by practically anything: date, person, location, keyword. It has a really beautiful interface. I've been using it for a little while now. You can add your photos in automatically from your social media, from your NAS, from your PC, from your Mac. Everything will sync to all of your different devices. It's super easy to find photos. You can tag people. You can have all your locations available so that you can search by all of that stuff. And of course, it's really easy to remove duplicates. Mylio Photos actually does a lot more work on the front end when it's importing your photos to make it easier to find stuff so that you can get hyper specific and find that exact photo that you've been looking for. And this is the best way that I have found to manage your photo library, especially if you're running out of space or you have multiple devices by multiple people. I just have never seen anything that works as easily and as seamlessly as this. And your photos are not safe in the cloud. That's the thing that I've learned. I've had corrupted videos. I've had corrupted photos from iCloud. You think that it's safe there, but it's not. I think the best way to manage your photos is having local copies available in one location that you own, like whether it be a NAS or a PC or a Mac or something, and then have all those photos be available on your other devices as well. I encourage you to check out Mylio Photos. You could head over to mylio.com/cultcast. Mylio is going to be the best photo solution that you're going to find for managing all this stuff. And for our listeners, you can get a 25% off discount off your first year of Mylio Photos when you sign up for the annual plan. To go to the offer, just go to mylio.com/cultcast. That's mylio.com/cultcast. mylio.com/cultcast to get your 25% off discount for the first year. Thank you to Mylio for supporting this episode. All right, Lewis.
Sir.
I mean, me.
Yeah.
It's going to me first.
Tossing right back to you.
Right back to me, Lewis. So I wanted to lead with a story because I just thought that Apple's position on the headset is kind of unbelievable, and it's going to be launching or announced soon in June at WWDC. And I didn't realize that they were trying to position this as the next big Apple device. I thought this was just going to be a part of the product mix. Can you read that quote that you had just told me before I move on? Because I think that is gonna frame this conversation perfectly.
The epic quote from Gurman's newsletter. Yeah. So you said, I read this and my jaw just kind of dropped. Apple Inc. has chosen June 5, 2023 as one of the most important days in its history. That's the date it's planning to debut its first mixed reality headset, which it sees as the beginning of a post-iPhone era.
That was the part that I thought was bonkers.
Post-iPhone era.
So, Ming-Chi Kuo, he had a story out on Medium this week that said that Apple's announcement is their last hope for persuading investors that the headset will be the next star product, and that just kind of that I found that to be a startling statement because I didn't realize that is what Apple was going for, and there's just absolutely zero interest in this product so far. You know, with the iPhone, there was such a clamor for it before it actually was revealed, and when it was revealed, people were losing their minds. And with the headset, it's an esoteric product, which we're hearing is going to have a very high price tag. We've heard that even within Apple, like the people working on this product don't think that it's ready to be released because it doesn't do enough stuff. And now you have Gurman saying like they're hoping that this is going to be an iPhone replacement. That is bonkers to me. I mean, there is no chance that I can see, and maybe this is going to be a Steve Ballmer moment. I cannot see this device replacing a phone because it's going to be bulky. It's intrusive, like a phone you have in your pocket. You can pull it out anytime you want it, and it's not something that you have to wear over your face.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's not saying that this particular device is it. It's the beginning. It's the beginning. It's the first thing that's going to eventually lead to glasses that, you know, frankly, I'm not sure everybody wants to wear glasses either. But
this is like what the Newton is to the iPhone is what this headset will be to what they're saying will actually end up replacing the iPhone in the future.
Wait a second. I'm trying to unpack what you just said. You spoke so fast, you confused me. So are you saying this product is going to be as irrelevant as the Newton?
No.
Did I just paraphrase what you just said?
The Newton laid the groundwork for the device that actually ended up being the device that everybody on the planet owns, the iPhone.
Oh, okay.
And this is the initial version of this headset is going to be that for like, you know, what you said the design team wanted to actually wait for.
Right.
Okay. So you're saying that this product is going to end up leading to the next whatever big product is going to happen. It's just the precursor, and they have to iron out.
Yeah. But you know, it's like the Steve Jobs quote: "Real artists ship." They can't just keep kicking this down the road until like eventually 10 years from now they have something that they're actually happy with. You have to ship something eventually. You know, they've already put so many years into this platform.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to see it ship, and I'm excited to see what it does. But the notion that this is going to replace the phone, they feel like completely different product types. A phone is a phone, and this is a different thing than a phone. And I don't see what this product vision is to be something that would ever replace a phone. It kind of reminds me of motion gaming or 3D televisions, right? Like they kept saying this is going to be the next movement in those product lines. And ultimately, the reason they didn't take off is because people just like something simple. They don't want to have motion gaming. They don't want to wave their arms around when they're playing games. They don't want to wear 3D goggles on their face to watch 3D content. Like they just want to watch TV and be lazy. And having something on your head at all times, it seems like it would be so intrusive, even if they polished it and made it really good, that it can never truly replace an iPhone in the same way that I think, and maybe I'm wrong about this, maybe I'm old school, in the same way that an iPhone can't replace a Mac. They're just completely different tools. You know what I mean? And if you want to be productive, you have to have a Mac. You can't do everything on a phone. I mean, there are ways to be productive on a phone, but no one would use their phone in the same way that they use a Mac. Do you get what I'm saying? Am I wrong?
I do, yeah. And as silicon becomes more powerful, as these processor technologies get better, and as batteries eventually get better, it's about doing the same with like less and less hardware. An Apple Watch 20 years ago is arguably more capable than cell phones of 20 years ago. But the Apple Watch today, it's small enough to fit on your wrist, whereas that would be like a giant brick that you would have to wear otherwise. And this is just another layer down from the phone, but eventually it'll be able to pick up more and more of the content. And I guess Apple is imagining that 15 years from now, it'll be able to do everything that an iPhone can do today in like a pair of glasses sized device.
Maybe.
And then it won't feel like such an intrusive product. It'll just be like, Lewis and I putting on our glasses in the morning.
It won't feel intrusive. It'll just be in front of your eyes at all times.
Exactly.
And on your head.
Beeping. And yeah, I mean, I look at it as more akin to Apple Watch, right? I mean, I don't think it, Apple Watch doesn't replace an iPhone. I mean, it replaces some of the things in certain scenarios, but I think the same thing with those glasses, or the goggle. I think headset, whatever it's called. I think that is, to me, that's the thing that's going to be like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to pay $3,000 for it. Even all the things that people already make that sell for $300 or $400, they're not selling that many. And if you've read any of the studies, I mean, people, they basically quit using them after a few months. Because who wants to put a freaking bag on your head? Nobody.
Yeah, some people should, but yeah, I'm with you. And also, I've just used a lot of VR headsets, and they're not devices I would want to wear for in any type of long-term capacity. And you've got like this other part of the story here. Sony's cutting production of the PS VR2 goggles, and are estimating lower shipments. Quo says he believes that there's insufficient evidence to indicate that AR VR headsets can become the next major thing in consumer electronics. Like I would go as far to say, and I again, this is just
There's
my
not
opinion.
a single indicator.
I could go wrong. I feel like this is going to be a major flop, like massive major flop. Apple's going to release it. It's going to do not much more than we have heard. It's going to be too expensive and no one's going to buy it. Now that will be iteration 1. Maybe like with the Apple Watch, it will continue getting better and better and better, so people will buy it more and more. But the thing is with the Apple Watch, people are used to the idea of wearing watches. They're not used to the idea of wearing a computer on your head. That is a completely different premise. So it kind of seems to me like it's not going to do well. But you know what? Who would disagree with me? TC, our beloved Tim Cook. Let's see here. In this piece, he said, there have been, quote, loads of skeptics with everything that the company has done, but Apple has succeeded anyway. Quote, if you do something that's on the edge, y'all, it will always have skeptics. That's true. And
On the edge.
And this is definitely on the edge of insanity. I'm just joking.
I mean,
yeah.
One of the things that Gurman mentioned in his piece, and this is what I've been thinking lately, is like what's really important is getting this out there so that people can start building software for it. People can start building the apps that make it make sense and make it useful. And it's weird to think about it as like a thing that you wear a lot. I think it's going to be more like, oh, I've got a phone call in 10 minutes. I'm going to put the headset on when that happens, have my little virtual meeting with, whoever. And it's going to, if Apple's software is cool enough or the apps that people make is cool enough. And that is actually better than looking at your, Zoom call on a Mac. Well, then, maybe it becomes something that people use once or twice throughout a day, or like, oh, I'm going to take this on my next trip because I'm going to watch this great movie and what, is the equivalent of an IMAX screen on my head. And I'm going to sit there, in my seat looking like a weirdo with a bag on my head, but I'm going to be watching a great movie.
I mean, think about the Apple Watch again. I mean, at the original introduction, they spent so much time pitching it as like a fashion accessory and they spent a lot of time, like 10, 15 minutes going over digital touch,
I was going
which
to
is a
say,
feature that even Apple Watch owners today don't even know exists and nobody ever uses.
Well,
Like,
it's gone
yeah,
now, isn't
they'll
it?
probably
Is it still? Is it still a part?
I mean, no one
Is-
even knows. It could be there. And
I mean, they
don't
they
remember how to
swept that
use
under
it.
the rug
Uh,
real fast.
yeah,
That was
I mean,
super weird. It's
I
like
think you can
feel your best
still-
friend's heartbeat on your wrist. It's like, no, I think I'm
I
good.
think it's still there in
Fast.
iMessage, but like the point is Apple has to ship this thing eventually just so that they can figure out what it's actually for. You know, they do some of that testing on the open market.
I mean, well,
And then-
that's exactly right. I mean, they don't even know. They don't even know what this thing is going to do, and they have people internally, at least according to the reports that we've heard, who are telling them not to ship it because it doesn't do enough stuff to warrant the price. So it just feels like Apple Watch. I've made the same comparison. It feels like Apple Watch version 0, where they're like, we're not even sure what we're going to do with this thing. We're going to just release it and then iterate.
So you
on
say
it.
that now, Ben. What do you have on your wrist right now, Airphone?
Well, I mean, look, I think the Apple Watch has turned into a great tool, but again, back to my original point,
Oh,
is that a watch is a tool that people have worn for centuries. You know,
and
it's
what
like,
do I have on my face right now, Airphone?
Well, you have glasses, but your glasses are not a phone. You know, it's like
They could
that's
be.
like well,
Imagine if they were. Imagine if this conversation were supplemented by some charts, as Tim Cook also said.
oh well, now you've got me. Did you say charts? Now you've got me convinced. I'm not saying it's not going to turn into an interesting product, but I think it has the capacity to flop big time. And let's see here. Someone was saying, "Oh, Level Remix. What was the last Apple major flop?" Well, here's the thing: we don't know because Apple doesn't really tell us. But if I had to guess, I would say AirPods Max. I would say HomePod.
AirPower.
Ooh, is it even a flop if it doesn't exist?
Well, it doesn't. If it doesn't get released, I don't count
That's a
it. Right?
fail.
That's a philosophical question.
I think that would have done well if they could have gotten it released. And then the other thing, I think the Mac Pro is a huge flop. It's been a flop for years and years and years. They keep making it, trying to unflop it, but it keeps flip flopping and flopping, and it won't
Reflop.
flip and work. And yet they keep trying to make it work.
Ping.
Oh wow, that was like the king of flops. Yeah. So yeah, they've had a lot of flops, and I think that this could be one of them. Again, I think the price is going to be too high to warrant the functionality. People will buy it. People are asking if I'm going to buy it. Lewis and we kind of go back and forth on this. I was like, what would be the price for a no brainer? How much would it be? You're like, I'm gonna just buy it. I don't care what it does. $800. Okay. This doesn't sound like it's going to be an $800 product. Like I would be shocked if it were under $2,000, to be honest with you, from everything that we've heard. And that's high-end MacBook Pro territory for something that is not going to give you the functionality of a high-end MacBook Pro, at least that we've heard so far. So I don't know, man. I mean, the fact that I even hesitate to talk about this on the show says a lot because no one wants to hear about this dang thing. Nobody cares. Nobody is interested. So Apple is going to have to manufacture the interest in this product because right now it's such an esoteric concept to wear something like this on your head. No one has done it and succeeded. And so you're fighting an uphill battle just right off the bat because I feel like normally Apple comes into a established category and does something way better than everyone else. They're not usually the people that do something first. And that's not true in all cases, but they'll come into the phone market that's existed forever and they'll create the phone that everyone has always wanted. Well, now you have a product class that literally doesn't exist, and they're going to be coming in as the first mover, which is not something that they usually do, and it's not something that they do well, would be, I don't know.
Well, they do exist, though. I mean,
Yeah.
these things exist.
Where?
They're just what?
They don't exist. I mean, there are a couple
VR headsets don't exist. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, VR headsets do, but this is not a VR headset.
You're talking about the glasses that eventually show up?
Well, that, but I'm also talking about the headset. Like, this is a mixed reality experience. It's completely different than the Oculus or any other product that's ever existed. I mean, there have been a few, maybe a couple products that people have tried to make, but they've been aimed at business, and they were not something that consumers, just general consumers, would be interested
What, like
in.
HoloLens?
HoloLens is now defunct. They're
HoloLens?
closing it down.
Well, it existed though, or it exists.
Well, it existed to a certain degree. Like, they never really figured out what they wanted to do with it.
Well, anyway,
That's all I'm saying, man. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that this is a major success. When I heard that they were angling this as an iPhone replacement, and this is actually something that goes back to, it's all coming back to me now. It pains me to mention his name, but when Alex E. Heath broke the story, he was working for The Information. That was something that he originally said, is they're hoping that this will be a phone replacement. And I was like, oh man, that's going to be a tough sell.
yeah, I mean, I agree, but if they, Google Glass, when was that? 10 years ago? I tried that
Maybe
out.
longer.
It was like, it was like the Apple Watch. It was like slow, right? And kind of glitchy and weird, but you could see how it could be helpful in certain situations. You come out of a subway in a city you've never been in, you pop those things on, or even before you get out the subway, you get out the car and it says, or it even pops those things, says, get off the thing right now, right? And then it says, oh, turn right. And then it says, oh, go up those stairs. And then you step outside, it says, oh, your hotel is 3 blocks to the right. Turn right here. And be sure not to, miss the turn. I mean, you could see how that could be helpful in certain situations. And
Yeah.
I mean, for me, somebody who wears glasses every day and can't do anything without it, I mean, that kind of thing could be a no-brainer, especially if they made the lenses like better than my regular lenses. Like if you could adjust the way the lenses work somehow. But I don't know if they have any. I mean,
That's an
what I would
interesting
like to have is
prospect, actually.
like a zoom camera that could zoom in on something and I could see it on a lens. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could happen with this kind of technology and this kind of wearable tech. But I mean,
Maybe 10 years from now, maybe.
yeah, I mean, it's going to be
Yeah.
a long time, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
but so that's what the whole point
Which
of
is
all
what
this
Griffin's
stuff
saying,
is
right?
like,
He's
here's the
nodding his head over
first,
there. Yeah.
yeah, here's the first thing. Here's the very, beginning of a new era. Now, I'm not 100% sold on it because I mean, I know there's a lot of people who don't want to wear glasses. I have no choice.
Maybe the headset would allow you to not need glasses anymore. It could like alter the image based upon your eye structure, so it would show you like the image all blurry and warbled and warped, but in your eyes, it's actually like what you need, how you need it to be adjusted, so you can actually see it.
Better yet, what if it had like a little LASIK thing inside the headset and it could just give me LASIK surgery? Then it would almost be worth the $3,000.
You just press a button and it just shoots lasers in your eyeballs on a daily basis.
Do me.
Yeah, you have the AirPods that like scan the inside of your ear. Well, the headset does the same thing. It just does a retina scan.
Yeah. That would be a big added bonus. I agree.
You got to think ahead of the curve here.
That's my problem, is I'm not thinking far enough in the future. I hadn't even considered free LASIK on demand. That would be a big perk. In future news, Lewis is blind. But it doesn't matter because the Apple headset integrates with his Neuralink.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, once a day it blue screens and he poops his pants.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
Oh, man. I can't believe that we talked about this for as long as we did. I mean, the thing is, again, is it's big news, but nobody seems to care. It's crickets. Anytime we talk about this, people get bored. They start tuning out. Like, they just don't care. So it will be interesting to see what gets announced on stage, and hopefully we will actually get a release date. I've been hearing rumors that the production is delayed, but Apple is still going to go ahead and announce this in June and release it sometime after that. If it's $3,000, I know I'm not buying one. Every YouTuber on the planet is going to be trying to make videos about this, and iJustine and MKBHD and all the big ones are all going to get it for free 2 weeks ahead of time. So it's just going to be an expense. I'll let other people, deal with the headset. If it comes down to like, I don't know, how much would this have to be for you to buy one, Lewis? Like, what's the price?
I mean,
$2,000?
I was trying to think. I'm trying to think the last thing that I spent $2,000 on, and I can't remember because I'd never spend that kind of money. I mean, except like a trip to Italy, right?
Okay.
A month-long trip to Italy. I've spent $2,000, but I have not spent $2,000 on any single anything.
Yeah.
since I bought a truck 20 years ago.
Are you serious? You haven't
Yeah.
spent $2,000 on
What?
any?
What would I spend $2,000 at one time on?
I mean, you're a musician.
I've
How
got a
much
bunch
are
of
you-
guitars. I've never spent $2,000 on a guitar. Never once in my life.
Do you
Never once in my life.
Do you own an acoustic guitar?
Sure.
And what's the average value of them?
I don't have to get too.
You don't want to say. You
weird
live in San
about it.
Francisco. You don't want to say.
Every
probably-
Mac you've
that's
bought in
probably
the last 20 years has been
I was
under
gonna say,
$2,000.
what about your Macs? I mean, but Cult Mac buys those for you. So
Well, I mean, I'm using a MacBook Air. They cost like $900.
yeah, okay.
I mean,
look, I'm not going out and buying big ticket items all the time, but I do from time to time. I'll buy like a camera. I was just telling Lewis I bought a new guitar that sings like an angel.
I bought a refrigerator, but that was under $2,000.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they're not anymore. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm a cheapskate. So anyway, if it was under $1,000,
Yeah.
I would probably bite the bullet and buy it. If it's 2,000, almost impossible to justify. 3,000, completely impossible. 4,000, which some people have rumored. I mean, are you kidding me? I don't know. If it's over a grand, which by every indication it will be, then I might take liberal advantage of that 14-day return policy.
yeah, I think there's going to be a whole lot of Apple headset refurbs available
Yeah,
3 months after.
15 days after.
Yeah, they're all going to be coming from tech blogs.
I mean,
All
'cause,
right, yeah.
that's the thing. If this is the future, if Apple thinks this is the future, how are you not going to, strap one on your head just to check it out?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to check one out. I'll go to the Apple store, but for $3,000, that's
I
going to
don't
be a
want
no
to.
from.
I don't want to check one out that everybody else had their sweaty face on.
I mean,
I
it
want
is
my
gross.
own that I
Yeah.
can befoul and send back.
I don't even want to know what you're doing in yours, but I don't want to wear yours either. That is gross. Again, people are all saying I'm going to buy one. We'll see. It's going to depend entirely on what it actually does, and there's no chance. There's zero chance I pay $3,000 for one of these. Zero. Unless it like can predict winning lotto numbers, I'm not going to be interested at $3,000. But for $2,000, maybe for $2,000 I would buy one just so I could talk about it in future videos. But again, even that is going to be hard to justify because this product is going to have such a low amount of interest by anyone. After the first month, people will be like, "Oh, what does it do? What does it do?" They're gonna want to know everything about it. Then after that, it's gonna completely die off, and no one is gonna care that you have an Apple headset. Everything that you talk about, it's gonna be like talking about productivity on the iPad. There's gonna be like 10 guys who are interested in that.
Wow.
No one cares. All right. We spoke about this for probably 25 minutes too long. Should we move on
Dare we?
and just
This
talk
is the
about
future.
something that, and it's the future and also the past. It's gonna be the future for a little while, and then it's gonna transition to the past, and we won't want to talk about it anymore. Should we talk about this free book that's upcoming? I don't think very many people know about this, Lewis, and I thought it would be interesting to at least because I didn't even know that this was something that existed. And it came out on April Fool's, so I think a lot of people didn't believe that it was happening. But I thought we should at least tell people about this this book because they might be interested, and it's free.
Yeah. So this is coming out on April 11. It's coming from the Steve Jobs Archive. First major release from this new foundation or whatever nonprofit. I don't know exactly what the status of that thing is, but
The Steve
anyway,
Jobs Archive is what they call it, right?
yeah, the Steve Jobs Archive, and this is coming from them, and it's a digital book, and it's called "Make Something Wonderful: Steve Jobs in His Own Words." Sounds great, right?
It actually does sound cool. I think his wife is the one that is either involved or leading this project.
Yeah. And so the description of this thing from their website is a curated collection of Steve's speeches, interviews, and correspondence. And it says it offers an unparalleled window into how one of the world's most creative entrepreneurs approached his life and work. So, they say it's going to be him his words talking about his perspective on childhood, on launching Apple, on getting pushed out of Apple, time that he worked at Pixar and Next, and his ultimate return to the company that started it all. The Washington Post, I guess, got an advanced look at this. They said that it's got excerpts of letters and speeches, oral histories and interviews, photos, and mementos. They're going to release it. You can get it from the Steve Jobs Archive website, or also it's going to be on Apple Books. And apparently, Apple employees are going to get a free hardcover copy.
Dude, that's going to be a collector's item for sure. I would love to have one of these.
I'm just happy that this is going to come out, because now Leandro will have a new source of Steve Jobs quotes for the daily Cult of Mac Today newsletter.
Apparently, Steve had a habit of emailing himself whenever as sort of like a diary.
Really?
He didn't keep a written journal or anything. He would just send himself an email. And so I would assume that his wife was involved as providing some of those. I think there was one that was going around in one of these articles about it.
I think you might be right about that. So forgive me, Lewis. You may have said this, but I was browsing the internet while you were talking.
Oh, dear heavens.
I was looking for some stuff to show the people. We can't just sit here and talk dryly. Gotta spice it up a little bit. Did you read that already? That little quote right there?
No, this is Lorene Powell Jobs. She said, Steve has been written about, but this is actually his writing and his work, so there's no intermediary. Yeah, but I mean, I think that's restating what has already been said. I mean, it's his words. Yep. It's directly coming from him. Yeah, she probably just logged right into his Gmail account. I'm sure you use Gmail, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, .me never worked, so it probably was Gmail. Yeah, that's interesting. And I didn't know that he emailed himself a lot. I guess if you're trying to keep a diary, but there was no notes app in the cloud that you could use to do that at that time, that would be a viable solution to keep notes for yourself. That's really interesting. I don't know how much people still care about Steve Jobs. It kind of feels like he's like a forgotten hero. A lot of us who are into Apple still know who he is and care about stuff relating to Steve Jobs. So it kind of seems like the world has moved on in a way. So it's kind of cool to see this book come out and be full of memories and pictures and emails and stuff that we haven't seen before. And for free, you might as well grab it for free, right?
I think it's cool. Perfect.
Yeah. I think it's cool they're making this available to everyone for free. But I just thought you all might want to be aware of that, because it comes out April 11th, right? So next week.
Yes.
We'll probably talk about it a bit on the show. Once it comes out, I'll probably download it, and if it's cool, maybe we'll feature some of the photos or something. All right, sending it over to the Grifster to talk about watchOS. We got breaking news here from the Germinator.
Mark Gurman says on Twitter, I believe the new watchOS should be a fairly extensive upgrade with notable changes to the user interface, unlike iOS 17. It's important for watchOS to have a big year, given that the Apple Watch hardware updates will be anything but major. The device is poised for a more modest year after big changes in 2022. I mean, big changes to one watch in particular.
One big change.
Yeah. When the first Apple Watch Ultra debuted, there are plans for a major update to the watch hardware in 2024. But for this year, they evidently have big changes to watchOS for everyone. So I read that, and my first thought was, big changes to the user interface. What user interface?
What are you talking about?
There's the app list, there's Control Center, there's like the notifications. I mean, when you open an app on watchOS, it's sort of like a boiled down version of the iOS interface. You have like title bars and back buttons and little controls and things. But I mean, I don't know how much work would really be done to there. The only really spot ripe for redesign is really like the watch face itself. So that makes, everybody wonder, just as they do every year. Ooh, does that mean we'll get custom watch faces?
Dude, I hope so. It's so long overdue. Oh, man.
Here's the thing. If Apple wanted to, there's no technical limitation as to why they couldn't introduce custom watch faces. And we're almost, I'll remind you, 10 years into the life of the Apple Watch. If they wanted to do custom watch faces, they could have done that on like the Watch Series 3. So if they're not doing custom watch faces, if there's not much interface anywhere else on the watch to redesign, what does that leave? And what would they do for watch faces? And that brings me back to this. This is completely unsubstantiated. This is just a
pure guesswork.
Pure speculation theory here. I think back to the Siri face. Everybody,
the what?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody knows what this is. I had to look this up. This was introduced in watchOS 4, is how long ago this was. This is one of those typical Apple things of like a really cool feature that they drop once, and you can say, oh, I kind of see where they're going with that, and then they never update it or change it or make any tweaks to it. Even if you have an Apple Watch Ultra, it still looks exactly the same as it used to on the Series 3, that tiny little thing.
I didn't know that
Uh,
that's what that was called. I've seen that watch
yeah,
face.
yeah. So it's a pretty neat idea. The idea is that you have a clock on the top of the face, and then you have a scrollable list of complications
Mm-hmm.
that dynamically update throughout the day. Uh, I mean, it's the only watch face that acknowledges that the watch itself is a computer and not just a digital representation of an analog watch. Uh, it intelligently changes. So, like, you start a timer on the watch, and then you get a little timer widget like right on the watch face. You don't need to add a timer complication to get that. You start playing music, and then you get like a little progress bar there. You start navigation, you get a little navigation widget. So it's dynamic and interactive in that way. And if that sounds familiar, that sounds a lot like live activities. So, which is the feature, the big headline feature of the iPhone and iOS 16. So my theory, after laying all that out there, is that big user interface changes to the Apple Watch will somehow tie in maybe like live activity APIs. Maybe they'll redesign a lot of the watch faces such that they can all be dynamic. I mean, a big downside to the Siri watch face is that they never opened it up to developers, so it's only like Apple's Timer app and Apple's Maps app that work with it. Maybe they'll open a lot up to developers. Maybe you can make your own little widgets using the same APIs that you can use to create complications and live activities. That's my theory. That's really the only spot of the watch that I feel needs rethinking or revisiting, in my opinion.
I think that's a good theory. I would love to see this come to the Apple Watch, and in fact, I would kind of be surprised if they didn't integrate these into the Apple Watch now they have them on the iPhone. I am truly puzzled that they have not done third-party watch faces. Like, think about the state of the Apple Watch store. All the apps are pointless. None of them really do anything. None of them are really desirable. It's kind of like the Apple TV app store. It's completely dead. No one cares. No one uses it. There's like a handful of apps that anyone actually wants to install, and once they install them, they never look at the App Store again. But if they sold watch faces, that could be a serious business. Like if you let developers sell third-party watch faces and had like a marketplace for those, and people could create, different looking watch faces, people would definitely go to that app store all the time and buy those watch faces. And one of my biggest complaints about the Ultra, you guys know I like to go Ultra. This reminds me of something I was going to mention. Hot tip for you guys. Hot tip.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm glad that I reminded myself accidentally about this. Is the watch faces. Like, there's just so many watch faces that make me feel like I'm a grandpa. Like on the iPhone, I mentioned this before. On the iPhone, there's like a mode where you can like make everything bigger so that you could see it easier. Well, in an effort to, I'm trying to show people my watch on camera. Of course, it doesn't work. In an effort to use the space that's available on the Ultra, they took watch faces that everyone is used to. Let me see if I can get this to work. And then they just blow them up to make them bigger. And unfortunately, it just looks like grandpa mode on my Apple Watch Ultra. Like, instead of making better use of the space, they just blow up like existing watch faces. And it reminds me of that zoom in mode on the iPhone when you don't have good vision that you have to activate, and like my dad does. So a lot of the watch faces I think are not attractive looking. There's a serious lack of good looking watch faces, period, and especially on the Ultra since it makes everything bigger. And if they would just open that up to third parties, there would be millions of outstanding, cool watch faces. And I just don't understand why Apple doesn't do that. It seems like such a no-brainer. And to your point, Griffin, they had to have thought about this before. I mean, there's no way that they haven't considered doing this. And I just don't understand why they would. Any thoughts on that? I'm truly puzzled as to why they haven't done it already, because it's the one big thing that's missing.
I mean, do you really want to give Apple even more work to do on the App Store review team?
Well, they could always hire some more folks.
I agree that it would be cool, especially because Apple just kind of like gave up on designing new watch faces like years ago.
They come
Yeah.
out with new ones every year, don't they? But they come out with some.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all basically on.
They're all like
basically
artsy fartsy watch faces that actually they're not all
That
like
everybody
this.
looks at for 30 seconds and
Exactly.
then switches back to the modular face.
Exactly. Like the modular one is good. I use I wish I could show you my wrist. I haven't set up my my wrist cam yet. There's more evidence that I
You
need
gotta
to do
do
this.
the wrist
I gotta do the
cam.
wrist cam. There's probably only 3 watch faces that I can actually stand to use on a regular basis, and the modular is one of them. And then there's this one. I can't really show it to you. Maybe
This
No,
is so
it's
sad.
not
Come
gonna work.
on.
it's not gonna work. Of course, my camera also has face detect, so anytime I lift my wrist up, it's like I don't want to see that wrist. I'm not trying to see your wrist. I want to see your face, so it won't focus on my wrist. But
Shit, this is my watch face right now. No complications. It's
Oh,
just the
God.
time and the little
how do you
hours.
stand that?
Because I don't-
know.
Because you know what? I barely even use my Apple Watch since I've been working on a Mac every day. Like I've several times in a row this very week. I realized halfway through the day that my watch has been in water mode all day long, and I just literally haven't noticed.
Oh wow, I use my watch has become indispensable, especially the Ultra, because it has such great battery life. I'm just wearing it all the time. I did want to. I shouldn't even do this. I shouldn't give them any free press, but I have I've been looking for one of these forever. It's a black Apple Watch leather link, and you can't even find these at the Apple Store. I bought the midnight one, and then I decided after I bought it, like this is a little bit too bluish to actually wear all the time. It's kind of like a dark navy blue, and I just want a black one. And they're like, we don't sell a black one. Well, I think they used to sell a black one, and then they stopped. And what I realized is, and actually I just got the MagSafe wallet, which I actually love. I'll probably talk
I've got
about
that too.
You
Good.
do too. I never thought I would actually like this. I have it now, and I actually really like it a lot. I have the midnight one, and it's a great device. But I figured out a way to get massive discounts on the MagSafe wallet, and then also on the LeatherLink loops. And so I'll give you guys this tip. I hate to promote it. They're not sponsoring the show. I'm not making anything off this, but I will tell you the 2 ways. So one is, at least if you live in the US, go to Best Buy and look for the accessory you want. Best Buy gets returns all the time, and they're like brand new, and they slash the prices down big time. So I got this this MagSafe wallet. I think I paid $23 for it, and it was like a brand new MagSafe wallet. I bought it from Best Buy. So keep an eye out for the used returns on Best Buy. They have it for all the Apple accessories, and once someone returns them, they slash the prices down big time. But the other way that you can do this, let me pull this up, is if you go to woot.com, Woot pretty much has like ongoing sales of Apple accessories, and they mark them down big time. So they have a whole section for phones and accessories, and a lot of it's trash. You won't be interested in it, but let's see here. Where are the
$20 off the Nike Sport Band.
Oh,
I'm
do
sorry, 59% off. It's $20. It's list for $49.
Where the
Yeah,
heck is
I
the-
bought stuff from Woot all the time. Just go to Woot, search Woot
Okay.
Apple wireless accessories.
I found it. So
Leather Link Band, 51.
the LeatherLink band, you can buy it in white, which is a cool look. You could buy it in black, and they're $52, which is half price. They're brand new, and you can't even get the black anywhere. So I was like, this is a bonkers deal. They keep restocking them too, so they'll sell out, and then they'll just restock them. So clearly Apple is using this channel to either sell leather links at a discount, which is how they sell stuff at a discount through third parties, or they're liquidating them maybe, and they will at some point not be available, which I don't think is true. Like, are they ever going to get rid of black? I don't think so. But dude, this
I have a
leather
question
link, this
about that,
black
though.
one is like one of the best straps that I've used. Yeah, go for it.
So Apple redesigned the leather link at some point. Like the original version of the leather link was more similar to like the Milanese loop, where it goes through and then wraps around. Is the black one the old design or the new design?
I think it's the new design because I have it on right now, and it doesn't go through.
It's just like
anything.
the 2 layers that like
Yeah, it's the 2 layers.
stick together. Okay.
I mean, it's exactly like my midnight version. So, and my midnight version came out like mid last year.
Okay.
So yeah, it must be the new design. So if you want a leather link, this is a great way to do it. The only thing I don't like about the leather link is it's not quite wide enough. I think it's okay, but if you look at the Alpine loop, I don't have it here. It's slightly wider than normal 45 millimeter straps are, which I think matches the body of the Ultra better because it's a very wide watch, and so having like a wide strap just makes it look chunkier and a little bit more like a utility. And these leather straps, they're borderline. They're slightly not wide enough to me. I think they're probably good enough. I would love if Apple released one for the Apple Watch Ultra that was wider so that it matched like the width of the actual watch. Not to be exactly as wide, but I think this is pretty good. And for $50, it's like, dude, that's a great way to get yourself a leather link. Let's see here. Someone Streamline saying the leather loop was the older one. Leather link is the new one. Okay, so this is definitely the newest design. Streamline's also saying it's illegal to sell customer returns as new, although that doesn't stop Tesla. Oh,
No.
I disavow. You can be involved with that lawsuit, not me. Yeah, so they sell the Best Buy stuff. Obviously, they sell as used, but it's literally brand new. Like someone bought it and then just returned it, and then they slashed the prices. But they have the MagSafe wallets here on Woot as well. The one thing I don't like about the MagSafe wallet, and Griffin, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. I feel like it doesn't hold enough cards. I don't really like that it basically only holds 3 or 4 cards, and that's it.
I mean, so many places take Apple Pay these days that I only really need to carry like one credit card. So in my Apple Wallet, I have one card, my ID, and like a business card, in case I lose the wallet and someone needs to contact me.
That's a good idea.
I think with only 2 plastic cards in there, you can fold in like like 1 or 2 crisp dollar bills if you fold them into thirds instead of halves. If you need to carry cash, but
yeah, see, I carry 3 cards in my Apple Wallet and or my MagSafe wallet, and it's like barely enough space for all 3 cards. In my last wallet, which I lost, it carries like 50 cards. So I kind of wish it had space for like 6 or 7.
You can fit 3 plastic cards, but if one of those cards is an Apple card, then you can only fit in 2.
You're kidding.
Because the titanium Apple card is too thick.
That's probably
thicker than standard card.
That's probably why they've designed it this thin. They're like, well, you only need 2 cards: your Apple card and then your ID
and your driver's license.
Yeah, exactly. That was.
I've also discovered if you need to carry some cash, you can if you need to carry like an extra dollar bill, you can squeeze it between the wallet and the phone, and like the magnets will sort of hold it in place.
That sounds a little sus, but you can also do what I do: is just carry it crumpled in your pocket like a school child, and just pull it out that way, and uncrumple it when you need to. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys this tip because I was like, these are such great prices if you are looking for a MagSafe wallet or for a leather link strap. Like, these are the best ways to get them. Definitely don't buy them from Apple because they'll be all too happy to charge you full price. Which and look at all these different colors for the MagSafe wallet. They even have like that really nice brown color. All right, let's see here. What else do we got? I think that we oh shoot.
This is an even better price than 49% discount. This is free.
What is?
The Cult of Mac giveaway.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't know you were going for the giveaway. But before you do that, Lewis, before
there's more?
Before you give something away, I also want to tell people about HelloFresh, our new sponsor.
Oh,
give me a second here, Lewis.
Sorry, just just trying to jump the gun. Keep the show on the road.
I'm gonna keep this thing on the tracks here. So let me thank HelloFresh for supporting this episode. What is HelloFresh? That's what you're wondering. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned, and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And I would add convenient. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. No worries if you're not a pro in the kitchen. I'm not. HelloFresh's foolproof recipes arrive pre-portioned and easy to prepare in just a few steps. HelloFresh is not just for dinner either. In fact, HelloFresh has you covered for every mealtime occasion, from snacks and easy lunches to seasonal celebrations and festive gatherings. With HelloFresh, you're getting seasonal ingredients picked at peak ripeness. I know Lewis is all about peak ripeness. Look at his face. He just lit up. Look at that. He's like,
who's opposed to peak ripeness?
I know it is, but you get particularly excited about it. That's all I'm saying. Picked at peak ripeness for quality that you can taste. Ingredients travel from the farm to your door in less than 7 days, so you know they're fresh. So I've been using HelloFresh, and what I love about it is it's a great way to subsidize your cooking regimen, right? Like a lot of times when you're cooking, you have to figure out what you're going to do. You have to go buy all the ingredients. You have to figure out what the recipe is. And you tend not to try new things because that's a lot of work. And with HelloFresh, the box shows up at your door. They have all the ingredients clearly labeled. And then they have a recipe card that is super easy to follow. So you end up trying new things that you may not otherwise have tried. Everything is delicious. It's fresh tasting. And they've done all the heavy lifting for you. All the hard work is done. All you need to do is just follow the instruction card that is beautifully designed. It's super easy to do. The food tastes delicious. I just had a meal yesterday with HelloFresh. I forget what it was called. It was like some kind of breaded chicken with green beans and like oven roasted potatoes. It was delicious. It was really good. And it's a super convenient way to eat healthy and still have good food without having to do all the work. They just take all the work out of it and just, everything shows up and you just follow the instructions, which is what I like. Try out HelloFresh yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/CultCast50. HelloFresh.com/CultCast50 and use code CultCast50 for 50% off your first box. And it ships free. So you get 50% off your first box, and your first box ships free. That is HelloFresh.com/CultCast50. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Give it a shot. See how you like it. You get a huge discount there to try it out. Okay. Lewis, do you want to talk about the giveaway here for a sec?
Oh, now you're ready?
I'm ready for it now. And I think
the
people are ready for some free stuff. Actually, this is 2 free things that we've talked about on this episode. So this is a giveaway extravaganza.
Yeah, so this week it's it's the same one as last week. A lot of times our giveaways run for like a couple of weeks. We're giving away one of these. It is a magnetic iPad stand with a built-in wireless charger, and it comes from the company whose name I cannot pronounce. Looks like it must be Cuxio.
I think that's actually a good pronunciation of it.
The X27 Pro is what this thing's called. It's got magnets that hold the iPad in place really tight. It's got this thing on the back that allows it to pivot up, down, round, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. You can put your iPad however you want to look at it. These things retail for $99. We're giving away one. You go to the homepage, cultofmac.com. You scroll down to where it says giveaway. Click on that. Enter as many times as you want. The giveaway, it is on the website now, has been for the past few days, week. But it ends soon, so get in there. Get in there and enter.
And you know what I always say, Lewis?
Yes? What do you always say?
You got a chance.
Yes, it's true. You do. You have a verified chance.
People often don't enter these things because they're like, I don't have a chance. I can't win. All I'm saying is you got a chance.
It's a good-looking iPad stand, too. If you have an iPad,
nice.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, it's almost as good as free.
What's that?
But almost as good as free is $2,300.
Yeah.
The Mac Mini with M2 Pro.
Oh, boy. I was trying to figure out. I was like, is he about to pay me to give me an iPad stand? I was like, I like this offer. Yeah, that's a great segue, Griffin. And it feels like it's free, doesn't it? Because it gives you back so much more than you spent. It's like,
free. But
it's a free experience.
It was not free.
Okay, well, why don't I just send it over to Griffin because he's going to talk about the M2 Pro Mac Mini, which you've been using for how long, Griffin? Now
about a month now, almost to the day.
Okay, and you've completed all your tests using it as a production machine, as a creative powerhouse, right?
Yes, that's right. The full review is on Cult of Mac, just published today. The short of it is that I think it's one of the best value computers that money can buy. Just $600 buys you in with the base model with with the M2, and today it's actually on sale for just $500 on Amazon.
Oh my.
If you check out,
Crazy.
yeah, it's crazy.
$499.
Yeah, $499.99. And even if you want to upgrade it to the configuration that you actually want with like M2 Pro and the 500 gig SSD, that's still only $1250 for the Apple's latest. It's fast, it's incredible. It does everything I want to do. So in the review, a lot of other websites that don't actually exist, so don't go look for them. Other websites, when they review computers, they'll just like drop in a Geekbench score. In my review, did a bunch of tangible tests. So before my 2015 MacBook Pro exploded, I got it to do a number of tests for me, and I timed the Mac Mini against it. I rendered 3 different videos in Final Cut Pro, and the Mac Mini performed 16.8 times faster. Exported 3 videos in total in under a minute, compared to
Wow.
like 20 or so minutes.
Wow.
I opened Pixelmator Pro with a 48 megapixel RAW photo from an iPhone 14 Pro, and did their image upscaling tool, which uses the neural engine. It's like a machine learning algorithm that they run it through to upscale images. 38 times faster on the Mac
And
Mini.
sorry, what year was your last computer? 2012?
2015.
2015. Oh, you had the 2015 MacBook Pro.
Yeah. What used to be the last good one until
I was going to say that was a classic
until the new
machine.
one. Oh yeah, classic
People
machine.
hung on to that one for a long time.
And I arguably did for too long. 38 times faster than that MacBook Pro.
And how much time saving is that?
I think it was 18 minutes compared to like 30 seconds.
Sheesh. I mean, that's
and
even a moron
get
like
hot.
me can understand that that's actually
Yeah.
good and important.
And here's the other thing. I've never heard the fans on this computer. The hard drive that I have sitting right next to it is way louder. Allegedly they're in there. I wouldn't know. It could be the fans are broken, but like
That's interesting
you tell-
because people have been complaining that the M2 runs hot, but I guess in the Mac Mini they're able to cool it better than in the MacBook Pro, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, you have more room in the Mac Mini thermally and just spatially. I ran a bunch of open source projects in Xcode. I dabble in a lot of in programming here and there.
Mhm.
I'm always checking out like what the indie dev community is up to. So I compiled a few projects, 3.5 times faster in Xcode compared to the old one. And you consider like I know a lot of people. I have people who work in larger like software studios, and they're like, oh yeah, when I press compile, it's like a 3-hour process. Imagine that kind of time savings applied there. Like, I mean, that's the difference between taking a lunch break and a coffee break. I put in the review. If you have to wait like half an hour between compiles, I mean, that's time that's just wasted. And then you find out that whatever you wrote still has a bug in it, and you have to hit the button again and wait another half hour. Like, it speeds you up. Here's another line. Creating a graph of the results is a good way to convey the difference to someone who's never used Apple Silicon before, but I knew the results before I ever ran the Mac Mini side of the tests. Like, just booting it up, and like if you go to restart the Mac and you hit the checkbox that says reopen all of the apps when I come back on, I mean, that was basically like a death sentence on the 2015 MacBook Pro, because it boots up in like 15 seconds, but then you actually put in your password, and then it's like another 2 minutes before it actually hits the desktop. And then it opens all these windows, but then they're all just spinning beach balls. I mean, that's the thing of the past. I can open up my giant 400 gigabyte photos library and just like scroll through the entire thing without a hitch. It's a powerhouse.
And the thing is this level of performance. I mean, I know what you mean when you're talking about how like the performance is startling. Like, it's just so good. And the machine is so quiet. Like, my M1 Max MacBook Pro is probably one of the best purchases I've ever made. It's probably the best computer I've ever owned. And it's so fast, it's so quiet. You can actually keep it on your lap because it won't burn your kibbles and bits like the Intel laptops did. No joke. Lewis is shaking his head. No joke. I used to have to put a pillow on my lap to use that laptop on my lap. It would get so hot that, infertility was a real possibility.
Wow.
it would burn my legs. It was so hot. And then you move from something like that to the M1, and it's so quiet, it's so fast, so nimble, it does everything so effortlessly. And I'm just looking at this chart that you have here, Griffin, of the comparisons of how long it took to do things on the 2015 MacBook Pro versus the M2 Mac Mini, and it's just a joke. I mean, look at this. It's like it barely like the speed of the 15-inch MacBook Pro or the Mac Mini M2 Pro. It barely even registers on this chart because it does everything so fast. And this machine is going to stay fast for years to come. Like, it would not surprise me in the slightest if in 5 years you were still using it and it was still performing in a way that met all of your needs. I mean, the thing is, like, there was a while where we needed more performance because the standard of video had changed from 1080p to 4K, and it took technology a while to catch up to like HEVC 4K video editing ability. And now the machines are there. Like, they do that so easily. Any extra power that you get is going to decrease your workflow to, or your export speeds to like a certain extent. But the machine can do those things so fast that there's going to be unused power shipping in these machines that you're probably not even going to utilize until we move to like 8K content or 12K content or things that actually stress the system. Because there's nothing right now that even stresses an M2 Pro Mac Mini. Like, what could you do that would actually force it to sweat? I can't think of anything besides 8K editing or 12K editing.
And like, really, 8K editing is far beyond what any reasonable person would ever do. Like, we're kind of at the limit where video is almost a solved problem, where 4K is good enough to watch at home on a giant television. 8K is only really going to be useful in movie theaters. But I see what you mean, though. I mean, Final Cut absolutely sings on this machine. I had these Ted Lasso recap videos that went on the Cult of Mac YouTube channel you might have seen. Those were like 3.5-hour discussions between me and one other person. So that's like a combined 7 hours of HD footage.
Wow.
I mean, admittedly HD and not 4K, but like I stacked like 4 of those videos up in the Final Cut timeline so that I could, cut between different angles and all that as I was editing, and it just absolutely sang. And I would never even dream of doing something like that on the MacBook Pro before.
Yeah. Or if you did, it would, you'd have serious concerns about it lifting off into the air because the fans would be going so fast. It'd be like a freaking helicopter.
Yeah,
Not to mention it would probably sear 2 big black spots into your desk from the heat that would be generated from doing those kinds of activities. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like I have the M1 obviously, but it's just such a pleasure to use, and it runs so cool all the time, and it just does everything so fast. It's like there's nothing I can do that can even stress it out. It's
Cats everywhere are disappointed that laptops aren't getting hot anymore.
Yeah, well, not with my Intel. My cat would have been like, because it's just too hot. Can't even sit on the couch after it's been there. All right, cool. Any other things to add about the M2 Pro Mac Mini? I mean, obviously, it's a productivity monster. I mean, for editing and for you said it's a creative powerhouse. I think that's true for anything creative workflows. It's going to be anything that you need, unless you need something with a battery.
There are a few things that didn't make it into the cut of the published review as is. First of all, Apple keeps pitching these computers at every product introduction as like gaming machines. I think with the M2, they were showing off like No Man's Sky and the Tomb Raider game. They keep trying to make fetch happen, and it's just not going to happen. Like, they're trying to will into it. They're like cosplaying as if it's a game computer, but it just isn't. I mean, I'm not interested in both of their AAA titles. So like I was looking at Apple Arcade, and I was like, there are some like racing games and like some clearly iOS games that you can play, but that's just not really. I mean, the Metal Graphics APIs are really powerful. You can do a lot with this machines, but like I looked for the most graphics intensive games I could find in Apple Arcade, and they're still just like not that impressive,
Yeah, they're trying to be Steam, and it's not happening.
Yeah, I'm not impressed.
Talk about an uphill battle too. Like, it's like a meme that people game on Macs. And oh, dude, before we wrap up, did you ever see the Justin Long commercial where he switched over to Intel, and he's like, "My name's Justin, and I forget what he said, but he was basically on the PC side now, pretending that PC was cool and like bagging on Macs that it wasn't as cool, it wasn't as good as like Intel at doing all these things." Did you ever see those commercials?
Yeah.
I still have facial cramps from the cringe level that was induced by those videos, and the amount of cringe that my face did, it actually injured my face. I think there might be a lawsuit that I could file about that. After all those years of being cool Mac guy, Justin Long. If you guys haven't seen these, they're on YouTube. Just Google Justin Long Intel, and I don't know how much Intel paid him to do this, but he switched over and started making Intel commercials talking about, how great Intel was. It's so much better than Mac. And he became the very thing that he stood against. He became the PC. Better than, what was that guy's name? John Hodgman? John Hodgman. Yeah, better than John Hodgman could have ever done, except it was real. It was like, it wasn't a joke. Like he was trying to make Intel cool, and it just ended up becoming the thing that he hated, and it was hard to watch, to be honest with you. Michael Scott,
I have one more point.
Cringe face. Yeah, exactly.
One more negative point on the computer.
Sure.
This was like my largest downside that Leander cut from the review because it was too boring. But you know what? What is a podcast if not for airing out your dirty laundry of stuff that didn't make it into the article?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm with you there.
The bullet point in the notes is software bug causes physical pain. This never happened on my MacBook Pro. It's only happened since I switched to the Mac Mini. Occasionally, when I'm listening to music or listening to a podcast or watching anything on YouTube, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Anytime audio is playing, I hit the volume button on my Mac, and it just starts like skipping like the last few seconds of whatever was playing, like a record. Like it just suddenly starts looping and skipping for a few seconds. And then at that point, if I press the volume button again, it will blast at full volume through my headphones.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, that was fantastic. The first 2 or 3 times that happened, it like Freudian trained me not to push the volume buttons with the headphones on. It's terrifying.
Like super
and
paranoid.
And it's weird because once that starts, you literally cannot mute the computer. I hit the volume button all the way down to 0, and audio is still playing through the headphones, loud enough that I can hear it with the headphones sitting on the desk next to me.
Dude, that's dangerous. Like that really could damage your hearing.
It's so bizarre. So I filed a feedback. If any Apple engineers are listening, check out FB12043732, please, for the sake of my ears.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
And if you know how to fix a HomePod, let me know. Mine's still broken. I won't tell the story this time. We're out of time. I can't tell it.
Teased again.
But my HomePod's still broken.
I guess we just have to tune in next week.
But come back next time, and I'll tell you the whole tale. I took the HomePod to the Apple Store. What an experience that was. But it might be dead forever. We'll see. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up there because we've gone for like 6.5 hours here. For those of you listening live, it's like a Lord of the Rings extended edition, and I think we need to go ahead and call it good there. But you know what? The CultCast never ends. Me and Lewis, we're both on the new Twitter, duking it out. I'm at Erfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. I would tell you what Griffin's is, but he's using Mastodon. And
just search D. Griffin Jones on Mastodon.
There you go. If you're a Mastodon user, you can go over there. Let's see here. I lost my place.
Oh dear.
I might have to start over. That's all we got. No. Yeah, this has been the CultCast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're gonna hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and hanging out live and hopping in the chat. And we will catch you guys next time. Look at that precise movement of the sliders. No one slides like I do, Liz. Oh man, my cheeks are actually hurting from recalling that Justin Long Intel story. It's like my cheeks were reforming into that face I made when I first saw that. and now I've re-injured my face.
Cringe master.
I'm feeling the cringe muscles. I feel like they've strained them just recounting that story. I might have to go back and watch the video, but if I do, I'm not sure I'll be able to do the show next week. I won't be able to move my face. All right, everyone.
Yeah. You want to be careful. Your face gets stuck like that.
Have a good weekend. Bye, y'all. I wonder if that end button works.